everybody, this is KennedyHawk from the Marvel Champions Monthly Fan Podcast team, back with another deck of the week. As we work our way through the core set, we're now on to our fourth hero and the fourth aspect. We're going to work on a Captain Marvel leadership deck. I'm going to give you a disclaimer right up front. This is not the best Captain Marvel leadership deck in the world. You can definitely build a better deck than this, but this is a deck that I talk about on the show all the time, so I feel like I needed to write it up and share it with people. It's evolved a little bit now that Mad Titan's Shadows is in my hand. I can use some of the great leadership allies from that set, but it is a leadership deck that has a singular focus. Every month in Marvel Champions, we get an amazing new hero to play. Usually, sometimes there's like a 5-month gap, but usually every month we get an amazing new hero to play. And the only thing my wife and I want to do is figure out what makes this hero tick, what makes them so amazing, because every hero in this game has the potential to be amazing if they draw enough cards. So this is the Captain Marvel give all the cards to the other player deck. And it's basically a support deck that we use every time a new hero comes out to test out that new hero. Nebula came out a couple weeks ago, and we wanted to see her go off and go crazy and see all the cards in her kit played. A lot of times when you're playing that new hero, you draw two of the cards at the same time, and you got to choose which new card to see works out. Well, if you team that deck up with Captain Marvel, either in two-handed or in two-player, that new hero player, that Nebula player, is going to feel like she rocks the world. And this is how it works. You're going to take everything you can in your deck to help that other player. And there's a couple of things that you might want to swap around depending on who that new hero is. This one is optimized for Avengers characters. So you're going to bring Kalu, Maria Hill, Mockingbird, Nick Fury, Spider-Woman, and White Tiger. These allies are all in here because they all provide an essential thing for your partner, chump blocks, and card draw for you or for them. So Kalu and White Tiger are both going to draw you cards. The reason the other player should care about you drawing cards is all your cards help them. So any cards you draw turn into, ultimately, cards for them. Maria Hill, enough said, right? She's going to draw both of you a card. So obviously, if you could spam Maria Hill 6 times in the same turn, you would do so. We've got Mockingbird and Spider-Woman, so we have access to stun and confuse in our ally kits. So if the other player wants to flip down, you throw out a Spider-Woman. The other player wants to stay in hero form but is on low HP. Throw out a Mockingbird. It works great. We've got Nick Fury just to cycle our deck faster and find all the pieces that help the other player. For events, we've only included 3 extra events. We've got our 3 Crisis Interdictions and our 3 Photonic Blasts. Those are great for removing threats out of the way of the other player or taking care of multiple schemes if something should happen. And then we got 3 copies of Make the Call. You might consider putting some copies of Get Ready in here. That would enable you to do this Maria Hill shenanigans where she defeats herself and comes back onto the board multiple times per turn. But ultimately, for now, we run 3 copies of Make the Call. And this is mainly because we want to be able to play Maria Hill every turn. So once she's in our discard pile, we get to play her every turn. Kalu also has an entrance play effect, so you can use Make the Call to bring Kalu out of the discard pile. He can jump, but he can also find, hopefully, a Photonic Blast or whatever you need to help your opponent. Same with Mockingbird and Spider-Woman. Once they're in your discard pile, you can Make the Call them exactly when the other player needs a status condition put out. Under resources, we've got Energy Genius Strength and 2 copies of Energy Absorption. I'd really like to have band together in this deck, and if I was to make this a solo deck with strength and numbers and crazy things like that, I would probably put band together in there, and I would probably drop Genius and Strength so that all your resources are wild or energy. That way you can feed right into your energy channel upgrades. But for now, since this is a support deck, I've got just my 5 resources. For supports, I have Alpha Flight Station, I have an Avengers Mansion, a Helicarrier, 2 copies of Regroup, 1 copy of Team Training, and 1 copy of Mighty Avengers. And I think these cards are really, really good. Team Training, you throw in the other player. Again, just give anything you can give to that player to make their board stronger. You do. Mighty Avengers as well. If the other character already is an Avenger, you can play this on them. If they're not, you're going to see we included Honorary Avenger in our deck, so we can throw this on them as well. And we really, really, really want to get that player to have all Avengers characters so that you can give all those allies that they might have +1 thwart, +1 attack. And solo, this still works for you because you've got 3 allies that aren't Avengers and you've got 3 copies of Honorary Avenger. So you can still get Mighty Avengers onto the board yourself, but mainly this is to play onto the other player and let their signature ally shine. Regroup is really clutch in this deck. The reason Regroup is so important, again, is Maria Hill, or Mockingbird if you're playing against a steady villain, I guess. But really, Regroup is there. When an ally is defeated by an enemy attack, return it to its owner's hand instead of discarding it. When the round ends, discard this card. So every time you get Maria Hill on the board, you want to throw a Regroup down as well. That way you can play her again the next turn, even if you don't have a Make the Call in hand. It's just another way to recur Maria Hill card draw. For upgrades, we've got Captain Marvel's helmet, our 2 cosmic flights, and our 2 energy channels. We've got 1 downtime and endurance. You're obviously going to throw those on the other player, not yourself. If you want, you could up those to 2 copies of each and drop maybe the regroups or the Mighty Avengers and team training. Just lower your cost curve a little bit, but also increase your survivability, not just the other players. We've got 3 copies of Honorary Avenger. This does a couple things. It lets you throw that on your allies, on your other players' allies, to keep them around 1 more turn. That could be very beneficial to the other player. It also lets you set up things like Mighty Avengers. If you ever wanted to play Avengers Assemble, it could set up things like that too. We have 3 copies of Rapid Response, and this is another key card. You want to get one of these on the board and save it for the right time. Don't use it every time like someone goes away. Don't use it on Kalu. Don't necessarily use it on Nick Fury unless you need to. You want to save this for Mockingbird, for Spider-Woman, and for Maria Hill. Because let's say Maria Hill is defeated, she can bounce back and draw them a second card. You can then attack with her next turn and play Make the Call, her from the discard, because she comes back with 1 damage on her. Now you've had them draw 2 or 3 cards in a round, and all of a sudden the other player is booming with cards. So Rapid Response is really, really clutch. You cannot not include Rapid Response in this support deck. So there you go. That's the deck. It's not like super fancy. It's not super exciting. It doesn't draw a million cards with strength and numbers, although you could definitely set up an amazing Captain Marvel leadership deck to do so. This one instead is all about how do I pass as many cards as possible to the other player? And how do I make it so their hero shines so we can see the new hero that comes out every month in Marvel Champions? So this is kind of unfair to Captain Marvel. We'll probably cover her again in the Deck of the Week series before we do a complete rotation of all the heroes, because this Captain Marvel deck was a lot less about Captain Marvel and a lot more about supporting Captain Marvel's partner. So the ideal combo turn for this with Captain Marvel would be a turn where you start in hero form and your opponent is, or your other player is the second player. You have Maria Hill, who just defended against an attack, and she brought herself back to Rapid Response. So she's drawn the other player 1 card. So they started at 5 cards, they've gone to 6. Maria now has 1 damage on her, so you attack with her, or thwart with her, get her into your discard. Use Make the Call with one of your double resources on her, so she pops back into play. The other player is now up to 7. You can then flip to Alter Ego form and give the player another card to get them to 8. If you have Avengers Mansion down, you can get them to 9 cards in hand, and you still have your Helicarrier to pass them to give them a discount. So if you can set turns up like that, where you're just pumping cards into the other player's turn, the person you're playing with is going to enjoy this game so much. This is a really good demo deck, too, because you can kind of sit back and do whatever needs to be done, and the other player gets to shine and feel like they were really a hero and like every turn was amazing. So you can recruit people into the game this way, and then once they've bought everything, say, okay, now go play Hulk for a couple days and see how it goes. Anyway, that was this week's Deck of the Week. Hope you try it out. Next time a hero comes out, I think War Machine is the next hero coming out, I believe. So maybe check it out with War Machine, see how it works out. Carol and War Machine are a great team up, great thematic pairing anyway, so I would encourage that regardless. Tune in next week for Deck of the Week, where we will revisit the final core set hero from our Deck of the Week series with Spider-Man. Thanks for tuning in, and have a great day.